Sun, sand, neon lights, and jukebox dreams, 1965 was a year where cinema leaned into pure escapism and youth culture like never before. These films weren't trying to change the world, they were trying to soundtrack it. Drive-in theaters filled with laughter, catchy tunes echoed from beach parties, and stories traded depth for energy, style, and charisma. This was the era of surfboards, convertibles, and rebellious charm, where pop culture and cinema collided in the most colorful way possible. What makes these movies endure isn't complexity, it's vibe. They capture a moment when fun itself was the main attraction. No heavy themes, no existential dread, just rhythm, romance, and sun-soaked chaos. Whether set on beaches or snowy slopes, these films created a fantasy version of youth that still feels infectious. If you want to experience cinema at its most carefree and musically alive, this is where the party begins. Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine, 1965. Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine merges spy parody with beach party aesthetics, creating a unique blend of comedy and science fiction. Vincent Price delivers a theatrical performance as the eccentric villain, building robotic bikini-clad agents to manipulate wealthy targets. The film's exaggerated premise allows for a mix of satire and spectacle, poking fun at both espionage films and pop culture trends. Frankie Avalon adds continuity with the beach genre, bridging two distinct cinematic styles. The vibrant production design and energetic pacing keep the film engaging, while its humor embraces absurdity without hesitation. Musical elements are woven into the narrative, maintaining the rhythm expected from the era. The film reflects a moment when cinema experimented freely with genre combinations, resulting in something both bizarre and entertaining. It stands as a testament to the creative unpredictability of 1960s pop filmmaking. Harum Scarum, 1965. Harum Scarum takes Elvis Presley out of familiar American settings and drops him into a stylized Middle Eastern adventure filled with music and spectacle. The film embraces fantasy over realism, creating a colorful world driven by exotic backdrops and theatrical storytelling. Presley plays a movie star entangled in a royal kidnapping plot, but the narrative remains secondary to the visual and musical experience. The film's bold production design reflects the era's fascination with faraway cultures, even if it leans heavily into exaggerated interpretations. Musical numbers are staged with flair, blending traditional influences with pop sensibilities. Presley's presence anchors the film, bringing familiarity to an otherwise surreal setting. Harum Scarum may not aim for authenticity, but it succeeds as pure escapism, offering audiences a chance to step into a vibrant, dreamlike adventure where danger feels distant and entertainment remains the priority. Sergeant Deadhead, 1965. Sergeant Deadhead takes a more unconventional approach, blending military themes with musical comedy and science fiction elements. Frankie Avalon plays a clumsy airman who unexpectedly becomes a hero, only to face bizarre circumstances involving space travel and resurrection. The film's tonal shifts reflect the experimental nature of 1960s pop cinema, where genres could collide without concern for consistency. Musical sequences remain a constant, grounding the film in its entertainment roots despite the unusual narrative turns. The humor leans towards slapstick and absurdity, embracing its own unpredictability. Rather than aiming for coherence, the film prioritizes surprise and spectacle. Sergeant Deadhead stands out for its willingness to take risks within a genre known for formula, proving that even lighthearted entertainment could venture into strange and unexpected territory while maintaining its playful spirit. Winter A-Go-Go, 1965. Winter A-Go-Go shifts the beach party formula into snowy landscapes, proving that the vibe of youth culture could thrive beyond sand and surf. The film follows a group of young people trying to revive a struggling ski resort, blending music, romance, and light comedy into a winter setting. The snowy visuals provide a refreshing contrast to typical beach films, while still maintaining the same carefree spirit. Musical performances and dance sequences remain central, ensuring that energy never dips. The characters are defined more by enthusiasm than depth, reflecting the film's focus on atmosphere over narrative complexity. There's a sense of optimism throughout, as if every problem can be solved with teamwork and a good song. Winter A Go-Go captures the adaptability of 1960s pop cinema, showing that the essence of fun isn't tied to location, it's tied to attitude and rhythm. Tickle Me, 1965. Elvis Presley rides straight into lighthearted charm with Tickle Me, a film that blends Western settings with playful musical energy. Instead of high-stakes drama, the movie leans into breezy humor, catchy songs, and Presley's effortless charisma. The story follows a rodeo rider who takes a job at a health spa, where mystery and romance quietly unfold in between musical numbers. What makes the film stand out is its simplicity. There's no attempt to overcomplicate the narrative. The desert landscapes give it a relaxed visual identity, while the soundtrack keeps the tone upbeat throughout. Presley's performance feels casual and natural, as if he's simply enjoying the moment rather than acting through it. The film reflects the mid-60s appetite for escapism, where audiences wanted charm over tension. Tickle Me doesn't aim for greatness, it aims for enjoyment, and that's exactly why it remains such an easy, nostalgic watch today. Girl Happy, 1965. Girl Happy captures the vibrant pulse of spring break culture long before it became a mainstream cinematic obsession. Elvis Presley leads the film as a nightclub singer sent to Florida to keep an eye on a mobster's daughter, but the plot quickly becomes secondary to the atmosphere. Beaches, parties, and musical performances dominate the experience, turning the film into a celebration of youth and freedom. The colorful visuals and energetic soundtrack create a sense of constant motion, as if the story itself is dancing alongside the characters. Presley's charm carries the film, balancing humor and romance without ever taking things too seriously. The supporting cast adds to the lively environment, reinforcing the sense of carefree fun. Girl Happy thrives on its ability to transport viewers into a sun-soaked fantasy where responsibility fades away, leaving only music, laughter, and the endless excitement of youthful escape. Tickle Me, 1965 alt listing. Revisiting Tickle Me highlights how repetition itself became part of 1960s pop culture consumption. Films like this weren't just watched once. They were revisited, replayed, and re-experienced for comfort and familiarity. The appeal lies not in surprise but in consistency. Elvis Presley's relaxed performance, the easygoing humor, and the musical interludes create a formula that audiences embraced repeatedly. This alternate listing reflects how films circulated through different markets and formats, maintaining relevance through accessibility rather than reinvention. The charm remains intact because it never tried to evolve beyond its purpose. It exists as a snapshot of a moment when cinema prioritized mood over innovation. Watching it again feels less like discovering something new and more like returning to a familiar rhythm. That sense of repetition is not a flaw but a feature, reinforcing the film's identity as comfort entertainment rooted in nostalgia. Beach Blanket Bingo, 1965. Beach Blanket Bingo stands as one of the definitive entries in the beach party genre, combining absurd humor with non-stop musical energy. The film escalates the formula with skydiving stunts, eccentric villains, and a whirlwind of comedic scenarios that rarely pause for logic. Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello anchor the chaos with familiar charm, creating a sense of continuity within the genre. The beach setting becomes a playground for exaggerated antics, where reality bends to accommodate spectacle. Musical performances are woven seamlessly into the narrative, keeping the pace lively and unpredictable. The film embraces its own silliness, turning exaggeration into its greatest strength. Rather than grounding itself, it leans fully into fantasy, delivering an experience that feels closer to a live party than a traditional movie. Beach Blanket Bingo captures the peak of the genre's playful absurdity and enduring appeal. Ski Party, 1965. Ski Party blends winter sports with the comedic and musical elements that defined mid-60s youth cinema. Starring Frankie Avalon and Dwayne Hickman, the film introduces disguise-driven humor as characters navigate romance and rivalry on snowy slopes. The setting allows for visually dynamic sequences, from skiing stunts to lively lodge gatherings. Music remains central, with performances that keep the tone upbeat and engaging. The film plays with identity and attraction, using its comedic premise to explore relationships in a lighthearted way. Unlike heavier narratives, Ski Party thrives on momentum, constantly moving between jokes, songs, and scenic visuals. The snowy environment adds novelty while maintaining the familiar structure audiences loved. It demonstrates how flexible the beach party formula had become, capable of evolving without losing its core identity of fun, music, and youthful spontaneity.
How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, 1965. How to Stuff a Wild Bikini pushes the beach party genre into surreal territory, blending fantasy elements with its usual mix of romance and music. The story introduces magical interference, with a witch helping to create chaos in a relationship, adding an unexpected twist to the familiar formula. Annette Funicello returns to anchor the film, while the absence of Frankie Avalon shifts the dynamic slightly. The film compensates with eccentric humor and imaginative scenarios, leaning into its absurd premise. Musical numbers continue to drive the energy, ensuring the film never loses its rhythm. The beach setting remains vibrant and colorful, reinforcing the escapist tone. By incorporating fantasy, the film expands the genre's boundaries without abandoning its identity. It's a reminder that, even within a formula, creativity can emerge through playful experimentation and unexpected storytelling choices. These films may not carry the weight of cinematic revolutions, but they capture something equally valuable: pure joy. They reflect a time when movies were designed to entertain without complication, to provide escape rather than introspection. The combination of music, vibrant settings, and youthful energy created a formula that resonated deeply with audiences of the era. What makes them endure is their sincerity. They never pretend to be more than they are, and that honesty becomes their strength. Watching them today feels like stepping into a time capsule filled with rhythm, color, and carefree spirit. While modern cinema often leans toward complexity, these films remind us of the power of simplicity. Sometimes, all you need is a catchy song, a sunny backdrop, and a story that lets you smile without thinking too hard. That timeless appeal keeps their legacy alive.